What's up, everybody? It's Adam Richmond, and you are listening to 3 Point Conversion, because you clearly have excellent taste.
Monthly check-in with how you're doing amongst all the activism that you do, and especially being the 1-year anniversary of George Floyd, and we know how heavy that can be. Just how are you dealing with it? How are you staying on top of everything and just continuing to do you?
Yeah, well, we've been engaged as a union and as players when it comes to obviously, our activism and bringing change to democracy as it pertains to Black lives in America. And lately, we've had a few social justice council meetings addressing many things, including the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And today it brings a lot to the surface, especially with the little change that we've experienced. Of course, there's legislation that has to be made in order for things to get better. Some ounce of progress towards violence against Black people in America. And so we've done our research on what the act includes, how it can get passed, and right now we're really looking to call on people to call on their senators to make sure that they vote the Policing Act in, because we need change, especially in a year. The amount of violence, specifically police violence on Black lives, that we've experienced since the murder of George Floyd.
And then particularly personally, what's bringing you joy nowadays? Let's lighten it up a little bit. What's making Nneka happy outside of being a boss sitting on this HBO set? What's bringing you joy?
There's a lot bringing me joy. Obviously getting to work with women in the W, and of course women like you who celebrate and do the work to get representation out there. And of course, speaking personally, being able to represent myself on the shop, which is amazing. And I've been getting so much kind of congratulations and praise from being on Space Jam, which is yet to come out as well. And of course, getting to know my team, both on and off the court, it's bringing me a lot of joy. We've been working hard to get better, because I think people deserve to see some really great basketball coming out of LA. So I look forward to, also what's bringing me joy is, seeing fans in arenas. I'm not gonna lie. That's bringing me a lot of joy. So hopefully I'll get to see everybody, especially you are in New York. That would be really great.
Period. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miriam Swanson, LA Daily News.
Hey, Nneka. I read that you guys, or that members of the Players Union had a briefing scheduled with Senator Cory Booker. Wanted to know if you were involved with that or were going to be involved with that, and just sort of what you hope to get out of that.
Yeah, so we had actually a touch point yesterday when it came to us discussing not just today, but also what's on our agenda for this season. There's a lot that we're still trying to work through. Whether it's getting this act attention and people to call their senators, continuing to stand with Black Lives Matter and say her name, and shortly after our call, we were able to get information about Senator Cory Booker giving us, because it takes education and we love to educate ourselves first. And so getting information about us being able to understand what the act means and how we can use our platforms to engage with our communities. So that was all our WNBA staff. That was really, really great of them for that type of resource. And we're just looking forward to continuing on educating ourselves and really making the change that we want to see. It's imperative for people to continue to engage outside of the fervor that we feel in election years. We have to constantly be aware of what's going on. And I think that that's something that we're really harping on. And I know Senator Booker is really doing a good job of educating us so we can be better citizens too.
Well, thanks.
I will go to Kahari Jones Jr. with the LA Sentinel.
Hey, what's going on, Nneka? You wearing many hats right now. You're doing wonderful things. This week you have an episode in the Shock that's going to be released. With Jay-Z, LeBron James, and Matt Carter. Can you just elaborate on just give us insight? What should we expect, and also can you elaborate on the next evolution for you as well?
Sorry, what was the last part?
Just elaborate on the next evolution for you as well, just as far as women's rising in sports and media and things of that nature.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, it was such an honor to be included on the Shop. And after the pandemic, I think it was the first production that they've been able to put together after the pandemic. Of course, I've met LeBron, and Mav, of course. But to be able to sit with Hov, Bad Bunny, and Paul Revere, it was a great experience. Probably one of the most favorite things I've done so far, maybe outside of Space Jam, but it's great to sit down with like minds with varied passions and backgrounds. It was a fun time, honestly, and to be able to learn so much about what makes other people great, and for me to be in that room, it was such an honor. I don't really know what the evolution holds for me when it comes to media specifically, but I certainly am an advocate for women's sports through and through, and I see myself continuing to do that even after I'm done playing.
We have time for two more. We'll go to Chris Camello, Nightcast Media.
Hey, Nneka, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. I asked you this a few weeks ago, and just all the things that you've done on the media side to not only create awareness for yourself, but it seems like create awareness for the women's game. And where does the Shop kind of fit into that? Is that just another stepping stone, or do you think it could be something like an even bigger platform in order to create that awareness for yourself as well as the women's game?
Yeah, of course. I think any big platform that a woman can represent on is huge. And to be in, such honored company, I think it's a really big deal as well. I think it shows not just the representation, but then it gives a voice to the women who are involved in sport. And it can be me on the Shop. It can be Asia and Sweetie's music video. It can be Chene broadcasting day in and day out, even after practice. It just brings representation that we need to see. These are voices and faces that people may not be exposed to otherwise. And so not just for us to be seen, but to be heard is really huge. And I'm hoping that it continues to grow, both individually and collectively for women in sport and women in general as we look to progress.
Last question will go to Brady Klopper with SB Nation.
Hey, Nneka, it's been a kind of weird schedule for y'all to start the season with the week off between the first and second, and then a week off between the second and third games. With the kind of tough losses you've had to start the season, do you find that those weeks off between games to be helpful to be able to really make some changes and adjustments, or would you rather be kind of getting back in the lab, washing it out, and having another game right after?
Yeah, I mean, it is strange. I was watching the New York game yesterday, and they are 5-1, and we've only played 2 games. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. But I do think that we use it to our advantage to be able to get a lot of practice in, especially with such a competitive camp. We really had to wait and see who was going to be on this team. And so for us to gel, chemically speaking, and then to get games and live action in the middle of that, it allows us to look ourselves in the mirror and see ourselves, and we need to see where we want to go with that. So yeah, the schedule's weird. Although I will say this, I do feel as though since I've been a Spark, a lot of times we are hit with 1 game in 1 week, or maybe 2 games in 1 week, and then a long road trip. But I think that it seems a little bit more exaggerated this year with 2 games in 2 weeks, but we're using it to the best of our ability to get better. So we've gotten a lot of great practice in.
Thanks, Brady. Arella and Derek will be next.
Thank you.